Oh, I see lights. Good. That still works. Let's see if the other thing still works. Just did a driver installation. That lights up too. I'm very, very surprised, very, very impressed, or some combination of the two. Well, let's not beat around the bush here. Getting old sucks. There. I've taken another step towards my inevitable fate, and the fate that befalls many of us, where we grow up to find ourselves turning into our parents. That's one of my dad's longtime sayings about getting old, is that getting old sucks. And we are going to talk about what's been going on with me tonight. It's under people and blogs, not even science and technology. I said last time that streams do not replace making videos, and I meant it. So well, let's try and make the most of this, shall we? Because I understand that I've posted some rather disturbing things to my community page, and I've posted some rather disturbing things to Twitter. So why don't we tell the story of what the hell's been going on? What is up, everybody? This is Jay, aka MultimediaJay. A quick sound check. Why don't we tell the story of sounds normal, although I'm going to try and enhance my my stream sound a little later on, as well as the stream lighting with some stuff I've got coming up in some tech videos. But for now, though, let's try and chill, shall we? I'm a little more wound up than I should be, and it's affecting my blood pressure because I'm old. So, yeah, welcome to the Late Night Nerd Lounge, something that maybe some folks are like, well, Jay, I thought you were done with these things. Well, here's the thing. I'm done with streams being used like they're replacing videos in any way, shape, or form. They just don't have... It's one of the things you find out as you toy around with this stuff, is that streams do not replace videos. Streams have stuff that they're good at and stuff that they're not so good at, and so do videos. So streams for me are going to be more about updates, what's going on, chilling, and the live interaction if folks say anything in the chat, which right now I have it in sub-only mode. Have to be subscribed to my channel for at least 5 minutes. But today I think it will suffice, it being 3 in the morning on Sunday, the 16th of October, 2022. It'll suffice for me to catch up with everything that's going on because, I mean, I call myself a grumpy old YouTube nerd on Twitter. I'm actually going to be quite the grumpy old nerd tonight. And tonight happens to be, fortunately, one of the nights where I feel the most normal and actually able to do this. So let's make the most of it. So what's been going... So first off, Late Night Nerd Lounge is going to be exactly what it sounds like. We're going to chill. We're going to chill, talk about stuff. It does not replace videos. Matter of fact, for those of you that watch the streams, I'm going to say right now, you might actually get the sneak peek of what I'm making videos about with my chat streams, because I might do like a rough draft of the discussion before making a formal video. I mean, YouTube has so many algorithms that it is more than possible if I make a video based on something I talked about in the stream without being lazy and making a stream highlights video, but actually making something from scratch so I can get it really, really tightly edited together. If I'm going to do something like that, then no, that's there's plenty of people on YouTube that can find out about the video and not be listening to old stream recordings. So who actually watches stream replays? Only your most diehard fans do. It's one of the unfortunately poisonous elements of Twitch culture and the way people treat live streams. Wow. Have I physically conditioned myself away from streaming to where I'm having trouble having these conversations now? How bad have I been in the last week or two? This, you know, at my worst, I wound up in the hospital. So yeah, we're gonna talk about what's been going on with that. But yeah, streams do not replace videos. To iterate something from last time, they don't replace making videos. Videos are the bread and butter of YouTube, whether you make the normal videos or the YouTube shorts, as shorts continue to grow. But I seriously think we're at the point, we're at the point now where if you call yourself a streamer on a comprehensive platform like this, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Look, maybe on a limited platform like Twitch, calling yourself a streamer isn't a bad thing, because that's basically what Twitch is. Stay hydrated. Maybe on a platform like Twitch, that's not such a bad thing, but Twitch has made their bed. Now they're sleeping in it. If you follow some of the weird stuff that's going on, with the ad incentive program, you'll know what I'm talking about. So Yeah, well, let's get to explaining things. I'm starting to feel weird already just from trying to talk for 8 minutes. I don't have long COVID. I didn't get COVID. I don't have any of that stuff. I have something, unfortunately, that has very similar effects as a result, unfortunately, of some of the lifestyle changes that have caused me to lose weight in the past couple of months. And an APRN prescribing my medications who's just not getting it right. And he's got me within inches of leaving his practice and going to one of the few MDs left around here so I can have a real doctor again. I haven't had a real doctor in a couple of years because the way the industry's going, at least out here in the woods, going to the doctor is like going to the dentist. You know how you go to the dentist for your cleanings and stuff? You have a hygienist who's like an assistant or whatnot working on your mouth, and then the dentist comes in and checks if you have cavities, and if you need something heavy duty like a filling, the dentist will do that. That's kind of what medical offices are turning into out here. You have a doctor and then a whole bunch of nurse practitioners, usually APRNs, that take care of the mundane stuff and collab with the doctor for the heavier duty stuff and stuff along those lines. And that's where the place I'm at right now is. I don't think I've had a family doctor since I was growing up. The industry has just gone in that direction. So it's been tough. It's been tough, particularly in situations like this where I'm freaking out and actually having panic attacks for the first time ever in my life. Panic attacks are not a thing with me, but I triggered just the right, reflex, instinct, whatever, to actually start having problems with this. And some of it, I think, has to do with medication side effects. So why don't we start at the beginning in terms of what's been going on? But first, let's talk about the channel. The road forward for this channel is going to involve more videos. I'm going to have the tech videos as a legacy series. And I'm seriously thinking about stoking some nostalgia for the people that like those tech videos through the style and design that I end up going with for them. And then I want to make, if I can, because I probably can't do big, long streams anymore until we get this medical situation sorted. I'm starting to lose it even as I speak right now. But yeah, I'm probably going to have a hard time. Feel like I'm having a hard time keeping my breath in one piece. If I talk too much, I start getting lightheaded. So not good. So anyways, while, I'll do commentary videos on stuff that's more algorithm friendly. So the algorithms will be more likely to pass that around. People will find out about me and they'll find out about the stuff that I do that way, because that's the way YouTube works nowadays. The only time I've had any real viewership or channel growth has been when the algorithms passed around my videos. Let's face it, your subscribers and your fans will gradually shrink as people get bored and move on. And unfortunately, the heavy amount of commercial influence on YouTube in the 2020s has created an environment where, yeah, this is getting ugly. What are we at for temperature? 73 degrees, but it's 50 out, so the chill is kind of making it in here. I might have to throw on a coat at the rate I'm going. Cold drafts. I hate winter. It's only October, too, and we're only going down to 50 degrees. It's just it was so hot and humid in the summertime that autumn weather takes some getting used to, and I don't want to run the heat when it's like 50 out. Either way, whatever. Just intolerance to cold, baby. I got too used to the heat and humidity during the summer with the month of heat waves we had. So the future of this channel is more videos, and the streaming might do some chill game streaming here and there, but right now I'm in no position to stream, not health wise, no position whatsoever to stream. Big long sitting down sessions like this actually bother me, especially sitting at attention. It's bothering me right now. What do I have for a pulse right now? Let me see here. Is it dropping? 76, so I should be fine, but I'm jittery, and I haven't had caffeine since in a couple hours. So it's just, sucks. All this crap sucks. Now, how about we start at the beginning as to how I wound up in this position? How I wound up in this position and how you folks can do better for yourselves by actually taking care of yourselves. So, to begin with all of this, I wasn't always fat. I got fat when I went off to college. I had a health nut stepmother who raised me on chicken and rice in proper portions. Glass of milk and water were my drinks and stuff like that, and everything was portioned out. Until I went off to college and they thought they could spoil me now that even though I wanted the discipline back. It just sucked. Because what I did was, once I got out on my own, I did everything I wasn't supposed to do, like a bratty little kid in a 18-year-old's body. So my last element of teen rebellion saw me go from 160 pounds to 205 pounds in a single semester at college from the all-you-can-eat dining hall, using sodas for caffeine, including regular Coke, and candy bars in the dorms for snacks. It's a grotesque waste of money, a grotesque waste of health when I was already going to school on a shoestring budget. When I got out on my own after college and I was like, I don't have to stay up all night studying anymore, I got in on some of the fad diets of the 2000s, much like my dad did. My dad got into the whole low-carb thing, Atkins, South Beach, not necessarily keto, but just low-carb, obsession with eggs and salad, usually low-carb, high-protein. He might have some trouble because of that in a couple of years, but I didn't follow that path. I got into, low carb. I used to eat a lot of George Foreman burgers with vegetables and not a lot of carbs. And I never lost any weight because I ate enough calories to make up for not eating any bread, which defeats the purpose of the darn diet. Managed to lose a little bit of weight on paleo, but that's because I was eating more vegetables, so caloric density. Look, let's acknowledge something very important here. Your feelings do not change the facts of life. No matter what. That's the difference between a fact and an opinion. Facts exist regardless of what you think about them or how you feel about them. And your feelings are mostly something that comes from you. And so, as I sit here, barely able to stream at 15 minutes in, feeling like I'm about to lose it. Now, even though my numbers say I'm not lacking oxygen and I don't have any problems with my pulse or anything like that, so as I'm sitting here, feeling like I'm about to lose it, 97% oxygen with 73 beats a minute. It's right in the middle of the normal range. Everything's normal, but I don't feel normal. It's horrible. And the reason why I'm in this position is because I didn't take care of myself. So you folks know I'm not a fan of the fat acceptance movement. I think it's a bunch of mass delusions and brainwashing, and it's what I call tyrannical positivity, where you outlaw anything negative from your life as if that's going to help you when you're completely unrealistic and bad stuff happens to you anyways. I don't support the fat acceptance movement. Because why? Because the laws of physics. Force equals mass times acceleration. If you are overweight, you spend your entire life at war with the laws of physics, more so than people who are healthier than you. So myself at my unhealthy weight, every footstep I've taken since I got fat when I was 18 years old, every footstep I've taken has been with more force than it otherwise would have been. Who knows what damage I've done to my knees, to my joints, to the whole 9 yards over decades of being overweight. And then there's the stuff that isn't so external and apparent. There's the other obesity-related diseases as well, which is now the reason why I have to risk not having my insurance sock me if they miscode or don't want to cover something, because I have to get blood work done as part of my annual physical every year to see how close I am to being diabetic or how close I am to having a cholesterol problem or any of that nonsense. It's also how they found out that I had a blood pressure problem. So I wasn't able to avoid that, in my family history by living a different life. First major failure of my adult life in my early 30s. So it's a disaster. You don't want to end up in this position. So I don't support the fat acceptance movement. Never have, never will. It's delusional. The only thing they get right is you should be positive about yourself and be willing to improve yourself. Never feel like you're hopeless. So if you could be morbidly obese, but don't ever feel like you're too far gone. There's always something you can work on. There's always steps you can take. Talk with your doctor, figure something out, but don't give up. And that's the only thing this movement gets right. The rest of the time, this whole thing where, I'm perfectly fine despite being way heavier than many other people out there is not fine. It goes against the laws of physics. It means you're going to be stressing yourself physically and physiologically doing the same stuff that everybody else is. And of course, there's other sources of illness like genetics and other things like that that'll, screw you over no matter what. But in terms of the stuff you can control, you want to live and eat healthy. And you want to acknowledge that as a rich country and one of the richest countries in the world, the United States has made a science out of making it way too easy to get all the calories you need to continue existing. Just go to a dollar store and look at mac and cheese and what that goes for. It's unhealthy as all hell, but you'll get enough calories to not be hungry. You'll have to take a vitamin or something to get the rest of your nutrition. That was my plan, by the way. That's the reason why I started taking vitamins when I first went to college, in case I didn't eat right, so I could make up the difference and stuff. And I still take them to this day. Some say you don't need to take them, but as a night shift guy, I'd like to have something with some vitamin D in it to try and counteract my lack of sunlight in my average day and other stuff that I might have missed. So it's cool to have a vitamin in the mix and stuff like that, even though their usefulness nowadays is considered dubious and questionable. I'm sure some doctor could talk about this better than I ever could, but that's where I stand on all of that. So the thing is, though, through things like portion distortion and stuff, and what constitutes a small coffee back in like the 90s versus today, we've basically made it so easy to be a total glutton who eats way too much. Go if you have like health insurance or something, or some kind of target calorie intake thing. Look up like your basal metabolic rate and what you need to eat in order to maintain your weight, gain pounds, or lose pounds. And you'll be surprised how easy it is to hit that number. I did that when it's about the weight that I was at years ago. The magic number for me is about 1,600 calories a day to lose 2 pounds a week, up to 2,000 or so to maintain. And if I hit 3,000, I might start gaining again. So, but you look at what's in so many things these days and what you might inhale as normal, or what you might consider a snack or something like that, you might be surprised. It's 300 calories for a George Foreman burger. I remember finding 600 calorie little snack bags of Greek yogurt pretzels in the 9 to 5 break room, and I was like, wow, the equivalent of 2 burgers from something considered a snack food. No wonder we have an obesity epidemic in this country. So yeah, I don't support any of that stuff. It's delusional, it ignores the laws of physics, and it hurts people. Just like I've basically hurt myself via not taking care of myself. And now I'm in this position today where I'm having this conversation, hoping there'll be an after the fact audience. Cause looks like our last person who was watching just left. Oh no, they didn't. YouTube still has a buggy as hell concurrent counter. But who wants to hear an old guy like me complain about health stuff anyways? Either way, at least we haven't any dropped frames. The other reason I'm doing this stream is to test out the last round of tinkering that the service techs did. Everything on my property now is new. Hey, it's Logan. Good. Somebody's still listening. Everything on the property is new. So if there are any more problems, it's something in the neighborhood, and I got to have the ISP send out the bucket trucks. We've ruled out the geek house and the line coming in from the street. Anything else? It's out there somewhere. So we'll see how this all goes. But yeah, so I don't support body positivity. I think the only positivity you should have is never believing you're too far gone to improve something with your health. Whether it's getting a little more exercise or something like that. You don't have to act like you're trying out for the Olympics. But if you're sitting on the couch all day and you actually start like slowly walking and you're more physical that way, it's a step. And you shouldn't think you're too far gone to make things better for yourself. Let's fast forward a bit here. So, anyways, obesity is a disease. There's all kinds of diseases related to obesity. And let's just say that a lot of crap's been going on that has been my harsh reminder of the need for me to take better care of myself. I was already working on it, but now I have even more of a reason to do so. So why am I in the position I'm in right now, where I'm really having a hard time even talking without feeling like I'm starting to get lightheaded? I don't have long COVID. I didn't catch COVID or anything. It's something else. So let's continue the story here. So my job, the 9 to 5ers, what they have me doing has a lot more walking and low intensity exercise in it than before. So I've been gaining slowly the benefits of being more active. And after the summer peak season, I would start becoming one of those guys that volunteers to stay after we finish everything for the night until like 11 or 12, still doing stuff. So my job got more physical during the summer, and it has stayed more physical. At the same time, I've been working on losing weight by finding like vegetarian things to eat, cutting calories, stuff along those lines. Net effect was, since the spring, I've lost 20 pounds and would like to lose more if I can do so without losing it completely. So I lost 20 pounds. Here's the thing. When I gained those 20 pounds earlier in the year, it took me over the edge with blood pressure. So my doctor had to up the dose on the blood pressure medications. I've lost that weight. He hasn't gone back to the old prescription. Apparently, he has to be very, very careful when lowering the dose that I don't screw everything up in the process. So we are in kind of an arm wrestling match with trying to find the right dose for everything. And things were getting a little too strong when I started losing the weight. And now things are still a little too strong, and I'm getting more side effects than I would normally get. And that's where so that's one side of it. That's where some of the panic attacks are coming from, because something is triggering something in the more automated part of my brain that says physiologically I'm in trouble, even though I'm not. But that's half the story. The other half of the story is that another element of obesity crap, being overweight, and how it has cost me over the years. I was diagnosed with sleep apnea, a silent killer, a very, very, probably more of a subtle silent killer than high blood pressure. High blood pressure is known as a silent killer because you don't feel any symptoms. You have to put the cuff around your arm and see that you're way too high, and learn that that could damage your blood vessels, your heart, your kidneys, even make you go blind if the wrong thing. Why did that trip the Google speakers? Shut up! Darn Google. It could even make you go blind if the wrong thing blocks up and you have a stroke into your eye. So it's no joke. If you want to have an annual checkup and see how you're doing with the blood pressure thing. If you go too high, talk with your doctor, get on something. They'll probably have you try and lose weight or do dieting first, as happened with me. And then when that's not enough, you get put on the pills. So, and it's better than blood pressure medication is nothing exciting in terms of prescriptions. There's been so much time to study it. It's probably one of the most fleshed out medication types out there. So it's like taking an extra vitamin essentially, and you just don't want to make sure you don't overdose. Nothing like feeling like you're going to pass out from a mountain of side effects because you couldn't remember if you took the pill for the day or not. So you took one, oops, you did. Now you've taken double. You're technically supposed to call poison control for that too. So it's not pretty. It's not pretty when you're wondering if you're going to pass out. And like, give me a cuff. I need to know what I am right now. It's no fun whatsoever. Anyway, sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is a silent killer. There's a lot of it that's going around undiagnosed because people think, oh, I just snore a lot. Here's how it works. You snore because your breathing passages are narrowing like that. That's a great example of that. I'm doing sound effects and everything. You snore because your breathing passages are narrowing a bit because the tissue's relaxing in your nose and throat. If that gets completely blocked, you stop breathing. After a certain amount of time, you gasp for air, but that damages the quality of your sleep. It desaturates the oxygen in your blood, the thing that these things that became popular when COVID came out tracked, by the way, and it just ravages your heart. It's not healthy. It's bad for you, very bad for you. So there's things like CPAP machines, stuff like that pumps air into you so that when that tissue relaxes, the air pressure is so high it can't droop down and block things. So, but I got diagnosed in June, and it was a big global shortage because of the cancer risk from the foam issues with Philips' CPAP machine. So it took months for the thing to get here. I go to put the thing on, and it's definitely an adjustment because it's high pressure air, and you can breathe through it. All the masks that go over your nose or mouth or whatever are vented, so you can keep breathing even if the power goes out and the machine shuts off. But it's different. So here's the problem. The part of your brain that you think with and get intellectual with is only one part of your brain. There's other parts of your brain that handle more automatic stuff like fight or flight and panicking, and your extremities go cold because everything goes to, because everything goes here because you're getting ready to run. And kind of that more primal, radical responses to what would in the olden days have been like dangerous predators and stuff. So, excuse me. Sometimes things trigger that when they shouldn't. I've been having problems where I go to doze off. The intellectual part of the brain is pretty much done because I'm going off to sleep, but the part of the brain that controls reflexes and stuff is not. And that part of the brain thinks I'm suffocating, and I start going nuts. I feel like I'm getting put under at the dentist's office, start panicking. I jolt awake in bed. And sometimes, if it was bad enough, that feeling of panic will last for up to an hour. And that's an hour that I'm not getting any sleep. All because I kind of dozed off to sleep, but the other part of my brain thought I wasn't getting enough air, just because I'm breathing through something with highly pressurized air in order to not, stop breathing and snore a lot when I sleep. Sucks. It completely sucks. It's stupid. Now, I've been there, those restless nights where I get jolted back awake by those things, and I put this thing on. I'm getting 100% blood oxygen, which doesn't happen unless I go running. And it's like 100 plus beats a minute, like I'm exercising for a heart rate. When these days, with the conditioning of my job, I can drop down to like 60, 50 something a minute if I'm really, really relaxed. So it's more of a wide range than it used to be now that I have more cardio as part of my job. So what am I at right now? Probably more worked up than usual, right? It's taken a while. 80. That's high for me on the weekend. So you can tell I've been a little worked up. Plus, I had a little too much salt tonight, so I'm getting a hit with that, too. It sucks. So my numbers are garbage right now anyways. Had a little too much salt tonight. I'm going to get back on the don't eat a lot of salt stuff tomorrow because I've run out of other stuff to eat. Now I have to get better. But either way. So between all of that, I've lost weight. I should be on less prescriptions, but now I'm on more because the doctor is like, well, since you're having these big panic attacks, let's try and smooth them out with some Lexapro. I'm like, I don't have depression, and I'm probably, when I'm awake, less jumpy than a lot of the young guys I work with who get mad about stupid stuff. It's like, yeah, but we want to smooth this out. We want you to get some sleep, and we don't want you to freak out so much. It's let's work out. Start with a small dose, work up, and let's see how this all goes. I don't know. Maybe I'll be able to draw the dose down if I get more used to wearing the sleep mask later on. But I'm new to it now because I just got it a couple of weeks ago. Maybe when it becomes something I'm more used to, I might be able to lose the SSRI because I don't really need it except for this stupid little reflex that keeps getting triggered when I'm going off to sleep. So that's why I wound up in the hospital. Because when I got jolted awake, I put two and two together on the intellectual side of things because I'm awake now. That part of my brain is very much back in action because I'm very much awake and I'm worried about going to sleep. So I'm like, look, resting heart rate is dropping down to 50 to 55 a minute. Normal range is 60 something. Did I do some damage to myself? Am I in danger if I go to sleep and things get too slow or whatever? So I drive myself to the ER. The anxiety would not stop whatsoever. The anxiety just wouldn't stop, and it was going to ruin everything. So now I get to get smacked with a hospital bill, which is going to have a big charge because the overhead. I went during, fortunately, it was in the morning when I drove myself there because I'm night shift. I imagine it might have cost more if I'd showed up in the middle of the night or something like that. But they run a bunch of tests, and yeah, they run a bunch of tests and bounce everything back to the primary care because everything comes out great. The physical side of my job means that I'm in better shape than I otherwise would be at my age. So the protein tests they give people to see if they've had a heart attack came back negative. So none of what I've been feeling with the weird events I've had as this has become a problem was actually a heart attack. So there was none of that. EKGs were fine. I thought for certain with the low heart rate I was going to come out with a pacemaker, but no. I'm just conditioned pretty well by my job. So the doctor's like, that sounds like nerves. Let's see if we can smooth those out with an SSRI and see if we can get you feeling more normal again. The problem is blood pressure medication adjustments take weeks to get some reliable numbers for. So with what I have right now, where I'm drinking a little more caffeine than I otherwise would be to counter some of the side effects, so I don't feel screwy all day, it's going to take a while for me to get all this sorted out to the point where I'm feeling normal again. And then after a month, the antidepressant, which I'm not even depressed or anything, is just trying to keep this reflex thing under control, will be in full swing. But I'll talk to the doctor about that I'll talk to the doctor about that once I'm a bit more used to wearing the sleep mask, because I think that's what's triggering everything. It just, especially now, one of the biggest things that's ever calmed me down is knowledge. So knowing how these things work, that a lot of people have panic attacks at night, some people even get woken up by them. I can pretty much safely deduce at this point that what's triggering everything is the feeling of it's not as easy to breathe with that thing on until you get used to it. I mean, I'll wake up after sleeping like a rock for hours with that thing and just be perfectly fine with it. But when you first put it on after breathing normal pressure air all day, it might be a little intimidating. So let's just say the part that of your brain you think with is currently disagreeing with the part that handles the more automatic stuff, and that's probably what's triggering all these panicky feelings I'm getting, like, oh, I'm being smothered. It's like, sucks. And you know what this all ties back to, folks? It ties back to being overweight. It ties back to the stuff that the body positivity people try to make into no big deal. It is a big deal. It's going to cause problems for you years down the road. It's going to cause problems with your knees. It's going to cause problems with your joints. It's going to cause problems with your heart. All kinds of, I mean, even in fat and fit, I was just like, I realize people are different. And there are some people that may do just fine despite all this, but it's the sort of thing where you always got to be willing to improve yourself. Now, I've got a situation on my hands right now, and I'm going to keep going. If I need to, I'm going to get another doctor, but I'm going to switch to a different doctor. But I have a situation on my hands right now where I'm intimidated out of making any more progress because of these darn side effects. Now, blood pressure medication had to be adjusted. I'm still getting side effects. I'm having to counter the side effects by drinking more caffeine than I otherwise would be drinking. I switched from tea back to soda, so that's not good. And I'm buying soda for caffeine again like I did in the olden days. Not going to drink too much of it, though, just enough to counter the side effects. Trying to counter the side effects of everything, but it's like, yeah. He's like, oh, I need 2 weeks of data before I can adjust. Okay, I'll get you your freaking 2 weeks of data. It's the middle of October now, so we won't be able to make any more adjustments until Halloween. And then there's some problems where I probably shouldn't take my numbers right now because I'm not relaxed. There's also problems where the blood pressure pills from the old prescription, which I could do 220s of those to get 40 milligram, actually work better than the new one with 140 milligram tablet, which we verified is correct. So, got to do some testing to see if this medication, for whatever reason, the medication isn't as effective as its predecessor. Like, what are they putting out for generics these days? It's like, if it doesn't make the full 24 hours. I'll do some testing on that this coming week. Doctor gave me some guidelines to shoot for in terms of when to consider the stuff as crapping out and stuff like that. But you know what? All of this could have been avoided if I had simply maintained the discipline that defined my childhood and adolescence with my health nut stepmother. All of this could have been avoided, or maybe most of it anyways, if I hadn't been as bad to myself in college as I was. Maybe it would have been better if I joined the military, get some discipline right off the bat. I would have joined the Navy if I went the military route. So, but I, as a millennial who was told all these stories by my folks growing up and by guidance counselors in high school and the whole 9 yards, I, as a millennial, was fed the narrative of going to college, making your life so much better. And it's special if you can go to college for 4 years straight out of high school instead of getting your degree some other way, like after some military service or something. So, sucks. Just totally sucks. But it is nobody's fault but my own. And I've had people try to talk me out of this. Like, don't blame yourself for that. No. It is nobody's fault but my own for not taking care of myself. If I have some kind of genetic thing, and I can get a test to see what stuff I'm prone to nowadays, thanks to modern science and technology, you're responsible for what you can control. It's that simple. Could I have done a lot better the past 21 years, since 22 years almost, since all this happened? Abso-freaking-lutely. I could have not spent years of my life in my 20s cheesing it with caffeine off of 5 hours of sleep every night because I want to play World of Warcraft until midnight with a first shift job. Could have ate better, could have lived better, could have exercised better, could have not gotten caught up in the mess that it could have not gotten caught up in the fad diets of the 2000s that drown you in saturated fat in the name of cutting carbs. It's like, there's so many things that from my 30s now into my 40s I've been learning about for the first time that I should have known 20 years ago. I'm quite disgusted that neither a high school health teacher nor my parents nor anybody actually taught me this stuff. I'm having to dig it up on the internet all by myself. That's part of the reason why myself and my dad, we've grown apart so much as people. We're very different people now. We definitely represent a generation gap, and sadly, this one's going to be permanent because of some of our disagreements nowadays. But it just sucks. Just completely sucks. If there's anything I can say, especially with the younger people in my audience, including you after the fact people, by the way, if there's anything I can say, I'll just say this. There's no part of your life that is disconnected from the part of your life after it. There is no, I'll worry about that when I'm old. What you do in your teens, 20s determines how miserable you are in your 30s and 40s. So there is no part of your life where you get away with stuff. You only think you get away with it until you find out the hard way that you didn't. Great example, and I should have known this. When I was a teenager, I went into church one Sunday morning with Dad, and I went to church, preacher preached stuff, sang songs, threw stuff in the collection plate, the whole 9 yards. We go into church one day, and there's this bed in the back of the sanctuary, and I'm like, who's falling asleep during the sermons? It wasn't a joke. It was actually quite serious. We had a lady in the congregation, 40-something years old, who had destroyed her back so much in motorcycle accidents because she was wild in her 20s that her back was so far gone in only her 40s that she couldn't sit up. She had to lay down on a regular basis in order to not get overcome with back pain. She literally had ravaged her back so much in her 20s that by her 40s, she couldn't do much of anything without lying down every certain amount of minutes or whatever. She couldn't go very long without having to lie down. And by that I mean lie flat. She couldn't even sit up. She couldn't even sit for long periods of time. She would have to lie down because the pain would start kicking in and would become overbearing if she didn't lie down. And she told us all in the youth group back when we were teenagers. She told us all back then, don't do this to yourself. Take care of yourself in your 20s and 30s so you don't end up like this in your 40s. Yeah, 40s. We're not talking about somebody who is really, over the half-century mark and totally over the hill. We're talking somebody who did stuff they shouldn't in their 20s, 30s too, wound up in the position they were in. And then there was some pastors more recently that I've listened to who bring in some kind of like life experience into their sermons or whatnot with whatever they're preaching about. And they talk about something they did while playing sports in high school that's affected them ever since, like a scar from a football injury, or they injured themselves playing something in high school and it never quite healed right. They could have played like college football or something if they didn't hurt themselves playing high school football or something. So something they did wound up affecting very, very young, wound up affecting the rest of their life. Or they were wild and crazy, got in a car accident and something didn't heal up correctly afterwards. The point is, there's no part of your life that is independent from the rest of it. It's never too early to start taking care of yourself. Don't put it off to your 30 when you're 20-something. Don't put it off to your 40 when you're 30-something. Start now. You'll gain benefits and you won't have to learn things the hard way like those of us who screwed it up did. One of the things I did was the whole sleep thing. I spent years in my 20s living off of 5 hours sleep. One day I just got sick of it. So I started getting 8 hours sleep, playing less video games, doing less YouTube videos, and I felt amazing. I was like, why didn't I do this earlier? In terms of sleep apnea, if you don't want to see your doctor about whether or not you have it, grab a laptop with enough recording space on the hard drive or SSD to record yourself while you sleep. Jack up the mic sensitivity, record yourself. If you're snoring, look for gaps where it gets quiet for a long period of time. If there's too many of them, see your doctor. That's probably one way I could have found out about this earlier. The way we found out was I had a bunch of relatives who had sleep machines by their 40s, and I was heading towards 40, turning 40. So I was like, well, I suppose a lot of other people in the family have them. I might as well get checked. Gave me a home study thing where you put some things in your nose and you put some stuff on your chest that you breathe, and it records your breathing and stuff along those lines. You see how badly you do. And yeah, it was bad. So yeah, there's a lot of crap going on. A lot of crap that I got to figure out, and a lot of stuff that's completely getting in the way of me being able to focus enough to really stream like this, or make videos. When this is what sucks too, if you don't take care of yourself, you get to the point where your health gets you to where you have to focus all of your energy on just getting through the day, and you can't really live your life. This is one of the things that people with long COVID, for example, are dealing with. So they have some residual symptoms from a prior COVID infection that have damaged their ability to just get out there and live their life. And it's really taxes you mentally when you feel like that, when you feel like you haven't tasted food in like months or something like that, or you can't walk with very much without being out of breath, things along those lines. It really makes you wonder why we're letting these politicians who are letting this thing rip around the country, why we're letting them get away with what they're getting away with. It's like rule number 2, you don't know what this thing's going to do to you if you get it. You end up with one of those people with long COVID. What do you do about that? So it's horrible. You don't want to be like 25 years old, used to be an athlete, but now you have episodes where you have to sit down because of some damage to your lungs or something from some variant along the way. It's like, really? So yeah, it's just a perfect storm of everything. There's going to be plenty of medical bills that I got to sort out. So I'm not building I'm not going to build a system. I'm not going to build a system for 20 years since I built the Silver Bullet. That's pretty sad. I'd have to crowdfund it because I absolutely am not going to have the money for any computers. The sad part of all this is I wanted to get a 5700X system because the current the Ryzen 7 Grands and the Intel 12th Gens, they remind me of the original Core i processors, where they were a new technology and faster, but they weren't really refined yet. So you see with the lack of power efficiency in the first gen Core i's, and the Sandy Bridge set the gold standard for the rest of the run of the Core i's, of all the Core i's. So, yeah. So if I build a computer at all, I wanted to build one with clearance 5700X parts. Like, oh, but you're buying a dead socket, dead motherboard. Yeah, I'm buying a dead socket and a dead motherboard. It's my money. But the thing is, even that would be an upgrade from what I have right now. And it'd be good for a couple of years probably, and then we revisit it when the technology that's brand new now, like the DDR5 mandatory systems and stuff, is more established, and it's cheaper by then. Hopefully we've gotten the inflation under control, there aren't any more chip shortages, and COVID isn't shutting down factories as it goes through the less vaccinated parts of the world. So just too bad. I wanted some kind of 20-year anniversary system, but there's no way I'm gonna have the money for it. Just from the copay, I mean, the insurance that I have with this job, first there's a payoff period for the sleep machine. It was a couple $100 the first month, and it's like $80 for a couple of months afterwards. That's an extra bill until that's paid off. I might not be eligible for President Biden's student loan forgiveness because I have a private consolidation loan instead of the original federal loans. So technically my student loans are paid off way back when I graduated. So I got to talk to the loan servicer about whether or not they can get some money for that as a form of loan forgiveness. That might be on the table as a boon for the last $5,000 or so in principal that I'm still paying off from going to college all those years ago. My dad can't even believe I'm still paying those things off. What's your problem? Are you buying too many computers? Why can't you save any money? Because the student loans are still a thing, Dad. And us millennials got shafted by the Great Recession. Now, in some cases, it ruined our ability to have careers that are college skills, because when you've been doing some scrap-ass job to get through the recession, nobody takes you seriously when you have skills in something like IT or something. There's an IT job I could go for in the area with one of the local school systems that I might put in for that. It'd be good to get back to tinkering with computers professionally. Plus, the salary is way better. The salary, even for a town job, is actually pretty good. So, Probably won't get it, though. There's probably people from Massachusetts that will get it, and then they'll just move out here. Yeah, I don't have to deal with the Worcester traffic anymore. It's usually how it goes. I don't know. I might check it out. I'll bet any money the the education bureaucrat will be like, nah, you're not a match for the position. Better luck next time, or something. I don't know. So yeah, it's a mess right now. And the big thing is going to be the ER bill. I think at minimum it could be close to $1,000, if not higher. We'll have to look at the line items and call and see if things are as they should be, or if if they decide to give me a break and code it as the least complicated or whatever, because or whatnot. Especially in light of the panic attack thing and stuff like that. Problem with the panic attacks is they share symptoms with heart attacks and stuff that's a lot more serious. So if you've never had any of those before, it's very, very, very scary when you're wondering if you should call an ambulance or not. And even though with panic attacks, it's 100% your brain doing the wrong thing. So you're going to come out of it fine once the feelings pass. Just hasn't been fun. And that's why I wound up in the hospital. I had to make absolutely sure that I wasn't, on my way to having damaged myself irreparably by the age of 40. So it sucks. Stuff you don't know is often what costs you big time. So as it stands right now, my experience day to day is you can take up to weeks to get used to adjustments to blood pressure and other prescription medications and stuff. So I'm in a position right now where what I'm taking for medication is still a little on the strong side. I'm getting more side effects than I otherwise would. I'm having to use caffeine to counter them for however. Soda caffeine is the steadiest player there, because it was the steadiest player for making me a little too wound up for hours afterwards, even before then. So I might stop drinking the tea that I usually drink for a while this is going on, while we figure all this out. But I'm in a position right now where it's a war internally for me to feel normal. It's like doctor says I'm sending too many messages over their messaging system. I got to cut back on that. But one of the things I said to him was, look, I've never been this freaked out about this stuff before. I'm 40 and I want to feel like I did when I was 39. I hope that's not too lofty of a goal for you. It's a disaster. Can feel when the blood pressure meds kick in. I can feel when the blood pressure medications kick in and I get hit with side effects. I check my numbers. It's not low blood pressure. I'm not in danger of fainting or anything. It's just the side effects, because the dose is different and what I'm taking is different. Just side effects, side effects, side effects. I got to counter those side effects just to feel like myself. And even then it's iffy. Yeah, this sucks. Folks, take care of yourself so you don't end up in a position like this. This sucks. I've lost weight before and it never had this many complications. All I did was lose 20 pounds. Although I don't understand why this APRN, who is different than the one that had me on the prior dose before I went up to the dose I was at when I was fatter. I don't understand why this APRN couldn't just drop things a little more aggressively. We got to watch your numbers and make sure we don't skyrocket you trying to back you off of this medication. This is going to be a drawn-out process. Well, the difference is last time I lost the weight, but it wasn't an issue with the dosage of medication. Actually, might have even been before I was diagnosed with hypertension. So I wasn't taking anything back then. But now I'm in a position where, things were too strong, but it's very, very tricky to get the dosage right when you're losing weight. So this sucks. It just completely sucks. But this is why I haven't done one of the many, many, many reasons why I will not look back fondly upon September of 2022. I mean, I had Oktoberfest stuff planned. Then the internet was flaking. Then, the CPAP arrived and I had these panic thingies start happening. And the other stuff happened. Took a blow to the head at work. Got a workers' comp claim in for that in case that turns into something. Yeah, this has really sucked. I'm running up a down escalator. Lost 20 pounds, got in better shape cardiovascular-wise. Now I get to watch a heart rate that's technically considered bradycardia. But athletes can have resting heart rates in the 40s. So it's not like I'm totally like an athlete from the extra physical activity. It sucks. All of this sucks. And the medication side of it, trying to get this right when the doctor said it's going to take time to do this, And I'm so tempted because the insurance portal for our insurance tells us who's in network and who has the highest ratings for customer satisfaction and efficiency of care. There's an MD who's 65 years old that I could switch over to who specializes in, who has professional ongoing interests in mood disorders, geriatric medicine, aka medicine for older people, cardiovascular stuff, and obesity. His professional interests would probably work way better with a fat guy like me than this APRN who's kind of more, general about things. So I don't know. Maybe I should change GPs, the whole nine. Doctors, I tell you. But that's a sad reality of the corporate influence in medicine nowadays. Now, I grew up with a family doctor. If there was something wrong with me or anyone in the family, we all went to the same doctor. The doctor knew all of us and could work well with like the genetic side of it because my dad and I went to the same doctor, Dr. So-and-so, for years and years and years. I only had 2 doctors growing up, and we changed doctors because my dad's insurance changed at work and the old doctor was no longer in network, so we had to change in order for the insurance to keep covering it. Other than that, though, family doctor. One person knew all of us, could bounce data and our charts off each other and take care of us a lot better than this corporate crap we have today where it's like going to the dentist. You have a bunch of APRNs playing the roles of dental hygienists and like one actual doctor in the entire clinic who the APRNs all collaborate with on the fancier stuff. Corporate influence. Then again, when I was growing up, the HMOs were a thing in the 90s too, and that was a source of much strife. But I don't know. I may just have to change doctors to get all this sorted out now that I know that there's... The problem with the doctor that I'm looking at who has the interest in treating people like me is that specializing in treating people like me, that is. He's 65 years old, so he might only be around like a couple more years till he retires, but he says he's still taking new patients. So I don't know how long this guy intends to keep on practicing medicine. He's almost as old as my dad, but maybe he might be more on long. I just don't know if I'm gonna have to do like new patient crap all over again. That won't be worth it. I don't know at this point, but yeah, I've never been to this many doctors in this short period of time, including when I injured my back last year, by the way. Never been to this many doctor places, never had this much medical crap going on, and never had such a struggle just to feel normal on most days. It's work for me to get through the day while all of this garbage is going on. So the net effect of this is going to be I'm going to get more low key, especially with more intense stuff like this. The only reason I'm doing this chat stream is because I countered the side effects of the medications enough to feel just normal enough to do this. But as you folks have heard, those who've been listening to this, including you after the fact, folks, thank you for stopping by the way. It's a struggle even now. And this is the most normal I felt in days. On my worst day, I was sent home from work because they were worried about me passing out on the equipment. So fortunately, it turned out to just be side effects. It wasn't low blood pressure at all from the dose being too strong. We're mostly having to figure out side effects and crap. But it can take up to weeks to get used to the new dose. So I don't know. I got to wait and I got to take numbers and I got to check. Matter of fact, I got to quiet down a bit and relax for an hour so I can take one more reading for blood pressure before I go to bed because the doctor needs data in order to get this right. I got to get the data and be scientific. I don't have a problem with being scientific, by the way, but man, just trying to lose weight, trying to actually be, a healthier version of me like the doctor's been telling me to do for years. But because there's medications involved now, it's a lot more complicated than it was the last time I lost any substantial amount of weight. Sucks. So that's why, title of the stream, getting old equals bah humbug. But it's not just about getting old. It's about taking care of yourself. Make sure you take care of yourself. You're never too young to start taking care of yourself. You're never too young to abandon the idea of college as it appears in the movies, stop drinking yourself into needing a new liver by the time you're 50 or whatever. You know, you're never too young to start taking proper care of your back instead of trying to be macho and setting yourself up for herniated discs and maybe even worse down the line. You're never too young to take care of yourself. You're never too young to get it right. And unless you're in a box under some dirt, you can still try to work on things. Just got to ask your doctor and try and figure out what. But that's what's been going on with me. I'm happy to report there are no dropped frames and no issues. The other night I actually got some lag too. But I did a full internet reset and reset the modem and everything, and I'm bypassing the power line network. I got to figure out the power line part of the network because it's been getting flaky on me. I don't know if it's the battery chargers from the last tech video or whatnot that are interfering or putting more load on the circuit, which interferes with the modulation. But it's, yeah, I got to figure that part out. I got to figure that part out. I'm actually not even able to get the full 100 down, 10 up on the cheapo internet. So we got to see how much money I have after all the bills are paid from this little fiasco between the sleep machine. Between the sleep machine and the ER visit. We got to figure that part out. There's insurance twice a year coming up. So what a mess. Oh yeah, my car needs new tires too. I am tire foaming the crap out of them so they don't dry rot on me in the middle of winter. So unfortunately, I should not have had snow tires all through the pandemic, just getting rotated every autumn. It did not... it wasn't good for them. They got sunbaked too much in the months of the year. So, there might be a sale on snow tires. Might get smacked for that too. Just got to the point where I've recovered enough wage-wise to start saving, and now I got to spend it on crap. What the hell? Remember that old country song, Hard Working Man? I can't get ahead no matter how hard I try. I'm getting really good at barely getting by. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. This is why grunge was a thing in the 90s. At some point, you had to get away from the never-ending party music and make something about life's problems and be known for being real about things. It's just too bad it got overly commercialized. As far as grunge bands go, I tend to listen to Alice in Chains the most. They actually had the most talent instead of just a bunch of whiny teenagers crying about Smells Like Deodorant, which is what Smells Like Teen Spirit is a reference to. Teen Spirit was a deodorant brand back then. But, some of what's been going on outside of all this health crap, post-grunge, ran into some commentators on YouTube who are obviously grunge people that they don't mention the Foo Fighters, interestingly enough, but they seem to not like any rock band that came out after 1993. We'll save that for another discussion. So yeah, here's what's up with the channel. We tell the story of the tech videos, obviously, but tech videos are a legacy series. Nobody's going to give a darn unless they already know about the channel. It's one of those once you know type things, which is why the videos only get 50 views. The algorithms don't know what to do with them, so they don't do anything with them. So I want to opine on commentary type things. I want to improve my streaming setup, and we'll progress with the tech videos to the point where I have a better streaming setup and they can make videos with streaming equipment talking about things that'll blow away any of the chat stream discussions I've had in the last year or two, because they'll be a lot more on point and they'll be a lot more interesting to listen to and watch. But hey, let's get to it, shall we? I made it. An hour-long discussion. Wow. But yeah, there are a few things that suck more than needing to devote all your energies just to feeling normal enough to live your life the way you used to do it before a bunch of crap started happening. That's the position I'm in right now. Never been in this much of a health mess. Although technically it's not a mess. It's just some wacko side effects and trying to deal with a reflex that's being triggered by a machine that's supposed to improve my ability to sleep. And when it works really well. I'm sleeping better than I have in years. And when it goes badly, it goes very, very bad, because I go to doze off and I feel like, ah! What a mess. And we haven't even gotten to winter yet. Yeah. Take better care of yourself, folks, and maybe you won't end up in a situation like this. Let's get back to stuff I actually have fun doing on this channel. Plus, is Billy from the Game Chasers still going? I know he doesn't let me live redirect. I know he doesn't let people live redirect because he hasn't set that up yet. Give me a link. Give me a link to Billy's stream. I can just get that from my Twitter, actually. But you know what? It's probably on my front page anyways. Let me just mute this darn tab. Oh, I don't see him in the list. Maybe he's done for the night. Is he done for the night? The Game Chasers. Yeah, I think he's done for the night. Yeah. Nope. He's done for the night. He didn't go as long as he did last week. Oh, well. Yeah, I've been chilling to Billy's gaming stream, his retro gaming streams, getting some ideas, too, for some game streaming. So streaming for me is going to be, updates like this and maybe working on something or playing video games. But the era of streams replacing videos in any way, shape, or form is over. Got to use the right tool for the job, even if it means being less of a streamer. Not that being less of a streamer is a bad thing. I think we'll see more Twitch streamers wanting to get more interested, for example, in a wider variety of stuff now that the House of Cards is starting to collapse over there. We'll save that discussion for another day. Take care of yourself, folks. See if you can do better than I did. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.